And as we start this session, so that we can also give about a minute or two for other people to join in who are trying to log in, I will ask you to tell us where you're logging in from. I can see Salmon Frank Mzee saying he's greeting us from Tanzania. You're very, very welcome. Asante sana. It is a pleasure to see you here. So let's see where you're logging in from. Say hello to us from wherever you are and tell us, where are you logging in from? My name is Vicky Karuga, and I am your host today. And I will be ushering in our guest speaker in the next few minutes or so. So I am really keen to see where you are logging in from. Where are you logging in from? So let me see if I have anything on the chat. I'm still waiting, still hoping. Hmm. Let me see. I have Eunice N, who's logging in from Ruiru. You're very welcome, Eunice. We have Rosemary Shira. I hope I pronounced that name right, logging in from Nairobi, Kenya. We have Robert John from Tanzania. We have George Joroge from my hometown, Thika City. You're very welcome. We have Ella Okech from Kisumu City. We have Mercy from Kiambu. We have Yvonne Mwendoa from Ruiru. That name sounds familiar. We have Patrick Gidongo. Welcome from Nairobi, KE. And we'll keep on admitting you as you come in. Just let us know where you're logging in from. It is a pleasure to have you all here today as we're listening to the speaker today. So I have Priska Angwenyi from Embakasi, Kenya. Thank you very much. We have Beth Buku joining us from Nairobi, Kenya. Shreya asking us habari ya jioni. Tuko salama huku Kenya. Mvua ndo imeanza. So tunasherehekea what are we sherehekearing? Good fortune. We're grateful for good fortune, God's blessings. Habari ndio hiyo. How are you, Shreya? Je, wewe, how are you doing? Let me see if you're just joining us, please let us know where you're joining in from. Uko poa poa. Asante sana, Shreya. If you're joining us in right now, just let us know where are you joining in from. I'm seeing Shreya saying ako Toronto, Canada. Joseph Nyongesa ako Nairobi CBD. Asante sana, Joseph. And if I haven't had you telling us where you're joining us from, please do tell us where you're joining us from. In the next 1 minute or so, we are going to to invite our host, who's going to be talking to us about why high-performing employees do not secure promotions. Why is it that we do so many things? We work hard. In fact, we are told that we are the backbone of the organization. We know that everyone comes to us to ask questions, to learn about the history of the company. We put the company first. We work long hours, but still we're not getting to where we want to go. So we want to listen to Pauline, who's a seasoned corporate leader. And she has been working with young professionals everywhere when it comes to understanding how do we ascend, not only just in our careers, but also in our lives. How do we do that? So I'm seeing we have Jerry B from Nairobi. Welcome very much. And I think now it is 6 or 7. So I think I have about 30 people joining in this webinar. So I think that is enough quorum. Without further ado, I would like now to formally welcome you to this conversation that we're having and to this webinar that is hosted by Profiles International. Profiles International are a company dedicated to growing people and transforming people. In fact, our brand promise and our hashtag on all socials is mold a culture. And we want to be part of the people in the region, in the continent that are speaking transformation, speaking and training and capacity building for the future world of work, because we know that the future of the world is actually in Africa, and we need to learn all the skills we need to so that we can then be able to take over and be able to deliver a better country and better continent. And we are always joined by like-minded people such as Pauline Kiraite, who's a very close partner of Profiles International, and she runs her outfit called Talent Gurus. She's also a certified coach works with very, very, very many professionals, both in Kenya and outside of Kenya. She's also an author, an award-winning author, and her book is entitled Owning Your Career. So, who else? Who better than someone who's spent a lot of work working with various professionals from diverse backgrounds, leaning into understanding what it is about us that does not allow us to ascend to the levels that we want to. So, one of the other things about Pauline is that she's a forward thinker. She's very agile and adaptable. She's a social media influencer. And if you haven't followed her yet, please go onto LinkedIn. You can find her on Instagram. But LinkedIn is where I know her through her posts, her great posts, her educative posts. Uh, that the ideas that we're talking about here now. She's been running talent gurus now and has won several awards, both local and global. And she calls herself the Global Virtual Physical Coach. And she has built an online community with over 40,000 followers and connections across all her social media handles. For her book, Owning Your Career, you can text us if you want a copy of that, which is a career playbook that she has sold, that she launched on December 2021. And since then, she has sold over 2,000 copies. And the people that she works with, M-Pesa Foundation, MasterCard Foundation, Old Mutual, Safaricom, Centonomy, ISPAC, ABSA, Scan Group, you name it. She has worked with all of them. So I'd like us to give a warm, rousing welcome. If you can see the reactions chat, there's a place there called reactions. If we can give and clap. Yes, I can see many claps. Thank you very much. And let's welcome Pauline Kerete to this conversation. Pauline, over to you. Asante sana. It is a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you very much, Vicky. Thank you for the lovely introduction, and thank you for sharing your platform. Yeah, so thank you very much. Remember when your team called and they said they would want me to come and do a podcast, and they'd given me two topics. I told them I like to talk about things that matter most, and especially around things around careers. So that's how I decided to talk about this topic. Because first of all, I have been a victim in the past where I was a hard-working person, and I thought my work should speak for itself. Yeah, but later on, I discovered that hard work does not speak. Yeah, and so that is why I felt maybe this is a topic we need to talk about, because we assume that our hard work should speak for itself, but it doesn't. I'm happy to see actually a lot of ascenders here. They followed me here. Very nice. Shiraya Das from Canada is one of the ascenders. I can see a few people, Priska, people who have also interacted with me in the past. I'm happy to see you guys here. So lovely. So we collaborate, So you'll see me in many other platforms. But that is how we grow the body, the body of knowledge across various platforms. Yeah, so you must be wondering, why is Talent Gurus here now on profile? Yeah, we share knowledge. Okay, so I want to talk about this important topic because, especially having been in the people development space, I find nobody anyway taught us about careers. We've been doing a lot of trial and error, and so a lot of us have been wondering, where am I not getting it right? Yeah, with my career. Yeah, so you've been busy working very hard, but you're wondering, how come I'm not getting the promotions that I should be getting? Yeah, and so today I want us to just focus on this a bit. Yeah, and I'll just first start by, defining who a high potential is, so that also you're very clear who I'm talking about. So that you know, if you fall in this category, then we're talking about who these high performing employees are. So if you can check the list first, I want to define who I'm talking about before we start talking about who. What are the reasons why high performing employees don't get the opportunities. So I want you to write in the chat group. Please describe characteristics of high performing employees. In your own opinion, what do you think? How do they look like? Yeah, in the workspace. What do they depict in the workspace, guys? We're gonna do this. Let's participate. What are the characteristics of high performing employees? I'm waiting, guys. Who is a high performing employee? Is it just anybody? Efficient, swift, accurate. They define themselves by their performance, do things timely with accuracy. They are go-getters, nice. They are focused, fantastic. Any others? Always busy. I don't know about that. Yes. They uphold great work, creators, result-oriented, work very hard, finish their tasks on time. They meet deadlines, they deliver results. Fantastic. So those are good enough. We can work with that. Yeah. So let's just clarify who they are. Yeah, so high performing employees. There are three key characteristics of a group of high performing employees. They have the right knowledge, to use this acronym KSA, knowledge, skills, and attitudes. So these are people who have managed to crack and have the right knowledge, skills, and attitude. Knowledge in the sense that they have the right business as well as professional know-how to do the job that they've been hired to do. Yeah, they have the right skill sets, the technical skills to do the job. They have good personal skills, yeah, interrelational skills. Yeah, so they relate well with their colleagues and they are easy to work with. Yeah, and they have formed good networks within the organization and also externally. And then when I refer to attitude, these are people who are positive in the workspace. I'm sure you've come across people who you work with and you wonder, gosh, it's always hard to work with this person because they'll always highlight the things that are not working. So do you see yourself carrying a good attitude? Are you a pleasant person to work with? And then values. Are you a person with good values in terms of when you say you're going to do something, do people have to follow you up? Do people believe you when you say you're going to do something? Because there are also people who, when they say they're going to do something, you know that you'll have to follow up 5 times before they deliver. So for me, I look at it as having the right knowledge, the right skill sets, and the right attitude for the job. So it's a combination. So once you have that combination, it's your ability to get the results. Yeah, the results for the job that you've been hired. And so it's accumulation of your work style. So it's about punctuality. When you're called for a meeting, you don't come after the time. You come 10 minutes before time. Meeting deadlines, ability to follow through with instructions, and are you self-organized? Technical skills. Do you have the technical competence to do the job that you've been hired? Yeah. So if you're an accountant, you're a good accountant. If you're in HR, you have perfected the skill. You have the technical skill to do HR. Yeah. So you're not guessing. Yeah. So your skills are actually acquired when you go to school. So that technical competence, have you actually gone and acquired the knowledge to do the job that you're doing? Then the other thing is your ability to identify problems and resolve them, your professional judgment. Are you able to make right decisions? Yeah, and at the right time, and then professional networks. Are you well connected? Then your communication. Are you able to speak well? Do you communicate well, and are people able to understand you? Yeah, what is the quality of your written communication? Are people able to understand instructions? Yeah, instructions that you give, and are you able to follow through to ensure that it's well understood and it's actually been implemented? Then willingness to ask questions. Are you able to admit when you don't know? Are you assertive and are you able to pick pertinent facts from a problem and be able to solve the real issue? Yeah, that's communication. Then business awareness. Are you able to understand the business environment you're operating in? Do you understand the business key variables that need to be addressed? Yeah. And are you able to respond to the changes in the business environment? Yeah. Do you understand who your customers are? And are you customer oriented? your personality traits. Yeah, the strength of your character. Are you an inspiring person? And can people follow you? Can you influence people? Are you a team player? Yeah. Do you have the ability to follow through on your tasks? Yeah. Are you enthusiastic? And are you well driven? Yeah. And then also your leadership style. Are you a good leader? Yeah. Are you able to delegate? Can you work through other people? Are you able to manage people well? And are people happy and motivated to work with you? Yeah. And if issues come up, are you able to actually resolve them? Yeah. All this is what makes up a good, high performing employee. Yeah. And leadership is a good indicator that you can actually lead. Yeah. Leadership style, your leadership capabilities are key differentiator that can actually differentiate you from the pack. Yeah, so it's a good to have. So once we combine all that, then that's how certain people are called high potentials. You have high potential for leadership, and that's how you're able to be pinpointed within an organization, yeah, for development. And I always tell employees that that's the best spot you need to be in. As an employee, always sit on the high potential, the talent bench. Yeah, because if you sit there, whatever you ask for, I can tell you, you will always get. Yeah, all those if promotions are coming up, you will also be able to get them. But you see, you will not be able to become a high potential if you're not deliberate and very intentional about your own development, in getting the right feedback, in getting the right networks within the organization and even externally, so that you are actually sit in this category of employees. Before we go further, I want you to tell me, in your view, what do you think holds high performance back from getting promotions? I want you to as to use the Mentimeter. So maybe you can share is it Rose? Can share for me the code for the Mentimeter so that the people on the call can actually participate. You can share it. Yeah, I would like you to just tell me what, in your own opinion, why do you think some high performers are unable to get promotions? So they're delivering, they're doing their work well, but what is happening? What do you think happens that they're unable to still get these promotions? What are your views? Please log in. You want to share it?
Yes,
It was
I'm
showing
here.
before. It was showing.
Just a minute, I share.
Yeah, I can also see there's a link on the chat as well. And when you
Oh,
click the link on the chat, it takes you directly to the Mentimeter. Yes.
yeah, it would be nice to see it also so that you can see what's popping up. Thank you. Hard work alone, budgets could be an hindrance, lack of visibility, perceptions, poor politics, office politics, lack of adequate skills, lack of vulnerability, self-doubt. Yes. Not selling yourself, naivety, visibility is an issue. Hard work alone, not advocating for yourself. I can see, guys, you kind of know the real issues. Not selling yourself. Yeah. Some are weak. Yes. Lack of clarity of goals. Fantastic. Any more? That's it. So you'll take a shot of that you can keep that shot. Okay, we can continue. Thank you. So thank you very much for your views, guys. Politics. Yeah, fantastic. So I want us to look at what are the real issues so that now we can know how to prevent it, yeah, for ourselves and our careers going forward. So the first one, yeah. So as I told you, this is not new. Even I suffered from it. I remember there's a boss I had, and I served them very well. I worked very hard. The point where you know that you have your boss's back, and you know that you always ensure that the work gets done, and your boss always looks good. So I remember I worked with them for I think 4 or 5 years, and then the person who was her number one, her immediate deputy, when they left, so I was the next in line. So I actually asked for the promotion because I thought it's automatic. Would you believe she actually said no? Hmm? And after serving her for almost 5 years, and I said, "Oh wow!" Because even the immediate was not as enthusiastic as the way I used to be. And for me, that is what made me realize, you know what? If I just continue working hard, yeah, this is not the thing that will take me to the top. And for me, that's when I learned this lesson that mediocre people. So what I did is I started observing. I started observing people in the workspace and started asking myself what makes certain people able to move and scale the career ladder faster than others. And so this was my first lesson. Mediocre people who work loudly outperform great people who work quietly. And I realized the people who spoke up, the people who spoke up in meetings, the people who are able to articulate themselves, yeah, even in staff meetings, departmental meetings, seemed to be recognized better than even the hard workers who are quiet. So I got to see there was a correlation with people who speak up and people who get recognized and people get promoted. And so for me, having come from the school of thought that my hard work should always speak for myself, yeah, is when I realized actually there's even a name for it. It's called the tiara syndrome. I realized, imagine your hard work will never speak until you speak yourself. So we have to learn how to speak up. We have to learn how to advocate for ourselves, yeah, and be able to share our wins. Yeah. Because if you do not have visibility, no matter how hard you work, your work is not being seen. I keep telling people, yes, you can have great achievements, but if they remain in your CV, nobody knows. Yeah. So the thing is, you can focus and I know that's the majority of us, we focus so much on working so hard, but we're not actually talking about our wins. We're not positioning ourselves. Yeah. And so this is something I'm truly passionate about because it can actually delay your growth. And then the worst thing, and which is even more painful, is where you see mediocre people now leading you, and it's because they were much louder than you. Yeah. And you who is more competent. So the thing is, you have to learn how to find your voice. The other thing is poor networking. And networking here, I even mean within the organization. For starters, start within the organization. How many people know you within your own organization? How many people can advocate for your work? How many people can actually say, yes, this one I know, and can actually use their name to say, you know what? Yes, this one delivers. So you have to learn how to network within the organization. Yeah, and how do you do that? Try, especially for company-wide functions, attend those functions. But even the informal ones, get to network with your colleagues. The other thing is volunteer yourself into committees so that you can showcase your work values. You can actually showcase your your smartness, yeah, because also in those committees you're contributing, giving out your ideas. So this is how people recognize this one actually is a great value to have in a team. So that's how you network. So you sitting in your little corner on your desk, yeah, and doing a very good job with the little job that you have on your corner, it won't get you recognized. So you actually have to now push yourself beyond your boundaries, yeah, and go to the extent where you now get involved in company-wide projects. Yeah, the other reason could be actually you have a big flaw, yeah, where you're brilliant, and we know many brilliant people who are very smart and they know they're smart, but they're actually abrasive. Yeah, they lack emotional intelligence. They have low emotional intelligence, and people tend to shy away from them. So the key thing is to Also, ask for feedback. Yeah, get feedback from your team members. Yeah, because maybe it's that thing of the emperor is naked and no one is telling the emperor that they are naked. The other thing is inadequate soft skills. Yeah, and the soft skills is simple things like how do you communicate, your teamwork, yeah, and emotional intelligence, which comes back up. The other thing is you not aligning to the company culture. Yeah, so this is where there's a certain culture that's being propagated where you are working and you are always seen to be doing the opposite. Yeah. So people who are seen to buy in into the company culture, into the views and the strategy of the department and the organization, and the people who will be put at the forefront. Because leaders want people who will not go contrary to what they are trying to build. Then you overlooking leadership. And this is where you become so content that you even stop talking to your leaders about your own promotions. So you believe that it's automatic that they should promote you. Uh, I'll tell you, if you do not ask, you will not, even it's in the Bible. If you ask, you will be given. If you don't ask, you won't get anything. So the thing is, you have to ask. You have to articulate what your short term, medium term, as well as long term needs are. Yeah, in terms of your career plans. So that now your boss knows in the next few years, if I don't do this, I'm going to lose this person. So communicate your career objectives with your boss and ask. Then the fear of change. Yeah, we have very many people who are very brilliant, but very many people who have sat on the same role for a long time. And reason being is because they fear, and obviously new roles will come with a learning curve. Very many people fear that learning curve, yeah, because they're already used to what they are doing. And I can tell you, I know of people who, when since we finished school, they are still in the same organization, the first organization they worked for. Yeah, and maybe that's maybe 25 years later, but it's because of the fear of change. And if you look at now their peers who were courageous enough to just take those changes, to make the moves, feel the discomfort, grow through the discomfort, and grow themselves, their careers have also grown. Yeah, I always tell people growth happens in discomfort. There's no growth that will ever happen in comfort. So you have to you have to feel that discomfort if you actually want to grow. And even with the promotion, there will be discomfort. Then also lack of mentorship. Yeah, a lot of high performers actually believe that their work should speak for themselves. So they've not asked for any help from anybody. Yeah, so they have no advocates, they have no sponsors or mentors to actually advise them on the right path to take with their careers. And so you'll find a lot of smart people and people who have been working very hard have stagnated for a long time. Yeah, I always tell people, you think about your class when you were in high school, those who got A's, where are they right now? If you were to ask yourself, where are the majority of the A students? Yeah, and it's because for them, they focused on doing a good job, and very few of them have actually pushed themselves for visibility. Then even sometimes when your own goals are misaligned to those of the organization. Yeah. And so the organization wants to take you in a certain direction, for you, you're fighting the direction. So obviously, it will get to a point they will stop pushing and trying to grow you. Yeah. So you have to also ask yourself, am I in the right place? Is this the right organization for me? Is it aligned to my values? Because also sometimes there are some organizations we join because of the money, but you find internally now you start having those internal conflicts. Then also limited experience in key areas. So sometimes even you yourself, maybe you're not well trained for the next role. Yeah, so you're limited in certain ways. So actually, uh, you're already defeated in the race even before the race has begun. So I always tell people, if there's one thing that you should never expose yourself to, is where your qualifications are being uh, questioned. Because you see, I always say getting the skill is the easier bit. Yeah, let people talk about maybe you've not yet fitted into the culture well, or maybe you need to gel more with the team, but let not your abilities be questioned, because that's the easier bit that you can easily sort out by either going to school and getting the right exposures. And then also timing and office politics, which we also had hard workers decide to keep off office politics. I always tell people that office politics will always be there where there are human beings. Provided we have human beings, there will be office politics. So the thing is not for you to participate in it, but to understand it and understand who are the key players. Yeah. But ensure that you do not get into it, because it can also lead to negative relationships with your colleagues. And maybe those are the same decision makers for your next promotion. So their view will influence if you get the promotion or not. And then as we grow in our careers, if you continue failing to ask for feedback, then you won't even know what is ailing you. So in case you you get missed out on your first promotion, it's important to go to your boss and ask, what is the issue? Why didn't I make it? Which are the areas that I need to grow? So that you can actually now prepare yourself for the next. Yeah. Also, sometimes you can get yourself stuck in a low growth environment. Ask yourself, is the environment you are in, does it have the opportunities that you require to grow yourself? Because there are some environments, work environments, that actually have few opportunities for growth. So if you stay in such an environment, then obviously the competitors are more and the opportunities are few. So what happens? There's fierce competition. So you'll always find that either if you're not the top best, you will be missing out on them. So it's good for you to review and ask yourself, am I in the right organization? Is there flexibility and growth opportunities for me? Then also, I know there are also high performers who have decided not to pursue growth, a lot of them. And especially, I know for a lot of women, because of work-life balance considerations, especially when you know that the next role is actually going to take more from you, especially when you know that the next role might take you away from your family. So I know of a lot of smart people who decided, you know what, for this season in my life, I will actually decide to play smaller than I can play. Yeah, so that I cannot be taken up to the next level until I have sorted out my house, my home, or family demands. Then also other high performers also don't get promotions because of also company restructuring. We know we're in the era of budgets, constraints, and cost cutting. So such can also affect high performers not getting the promotions when they require them. And then I think the last one in this category is just lack of leadership skills, where yes, you're good technically, but unfortunately, you're not good with people. So you've not developed your leadership skills. And so you've been able to actually influence people to follow you, because leadership is about influence. So if you are unable to convince people, to listen to you and to follow you and to follow your instructions, then it will become very hard for you to lead them. So those are a few of the reasons that hold high performance back. And so my question was, how do we get back onto the horse? They say you can fall off the horse many times. Yeah, but I think the key thing is your ability to keep jumping back onto the horse and keep, no matter how many times you fall, just keep jumping back onto the horse until you get it right. So what are these things that we now need to start doing? Yeah, as high performers in organizations. Yeah. So the first thing I would say is you have to start winning your senior leaders' trust. Yeah. Your supervisors need to know that you have their back 100%. Yeah. And I know in the workspace, well, I remember we used to say these ones are the people who do this. We used to call them the kissers. Yeah, the people who used to kiss us. But did you notice? And I'm sure some of you can attest to it. Those ones who are called the kissers are the ones who are able to actually grow in their careers. Yeah, and what they are doing is that they are actually showing their boss that they are fully bought into their vision and they're fully engaged to make them succeed. So you have to find subtle ways of doing that. And I'm not saying for you to be genuine, but I'm saying that you also have to show your boss that you actually are supporting them wholly. Then the other thing is you need to understand what your boss expects of you. What are the expectations? Understand what's the job that you're doing and what are the key expectations so that you can actually meet them. The other thing is to always exceed performance goals. Yeah. So for me, I remember every time I got promotions, I would always ensure that I met the target and always exceeded expectations. Yeah. So always ask your boss, even over and above what your job entails, ask them what else can you assist them with. Try and make their life easier. When you're able to do that, that is how you buy total trust for your boss, and that boss, when there's an opportunity, they'll be able to always push your name, and advocate for you. Then always develop new skills. Yeah, always anticipate and understand where your career is and where it's moving to. Always upskill so that you're the right person at the right time, the person who has the right skills, and who will always be ready when an opportunity comes up. The other thing we can also do is build the right connections and right relationships within the organization. And which I've already talked about. Start networking internally. Ensure that across the various departments you know people. Do walkabouts. Become friendly. Get to know people. And so people will be able to advocate for you. And the beauty about that is when you need support, you can always get people to be able to support you and vouch for you from the various sections in the organization. Then also seek feedback. The best feedback to get is actually 360 degrees. And if you can get your 360 degrees done in the organization you are in, so that you can get good feedback, even from your critics. So actually in that 360 degrees, put the people who are critical about you, your critics, so that they can now give you even more genuine feedback. So your friends can give you feedback. That's just one way. But the best kind of feedback you can get is 360, and 360 is where the people who report into you will give you feedback. Your peers will also give you feedback, and then also your supervisor and his peers also will give you feedback. So you actually are able to get feedback from all levels. And if there's nothing formal being done, you can still be able to do it by word of mouth after you've built rapport, so that people now give you feedback. Then proactive visibility, I've talked about that. So this is where now you will always show up for company functions. You will always seem engaged, in the things for the organization. You will always be seen to be supportive of company projects. Volunteer. That's how you build your visibility. And then you have to network actively. So you have to build genuine relationships, before you need them. So I always tell people, you can't try and connect with people, and the first thing you're doing is you're asking for favors. No, that won't work. So the key thing is network fast. Build the relationships before you ever need the favors. And the favor for you right now is somebody to vouch for you. In meetings that you don't sit in. So that is how you'll be able to get sponsors, people who can advocate for you. And then the other thing is, I would urge you, if you can, fast track stretch assignments. And stretch assignments are those projects that you ask for that are over and above what you've been hired for. So if you get extra work, if you get extra assignments, go over and above and do it very well, and do it even on time or even before time. That's how you start getting noticed. That's how your value starts getting seen in the organization. And then as you do this, you see now you're already helping your boss to pitch you well. Because if you manage good projects, and for me, there's a project I did, a company-wide culture change project, and I championed it. And I remember when we were starting the project, I think the project had like 320, project lines. Can you imagine 300? As of course, who's going to run this? Because I was very sure it wasn't me. But guess what? I ended up doing it. And that project took me 5 years. But by the time we were done with that project, the organization was able to turn around completely. I got to know like almost everybody in the organization. Everybody knew me by name. And by the time we were done, actually, that project alone was able to win us the best company to work for in Kenya at that time. Can you imagine the Company of the Year award? Yeah, but and by the way, it was not my core work. It wasn't even my core work. Yeah, it was something I volunteered, but the way you find that the baby is in your hands and you're the one who has to carry it to the end. So I ended up going over and above, to deliver this project. Yeah. So those are stretch assignments. They are not part of your JD, but they get you noticed. Yeah, they get you noticed, and that is how you add value. That's how you get promotions. Yeah. And then the other thing is when you get into meetings, when you get opportunities to sit with your bosses, learn how to speak in a concise and compelling way. Yeah. At the top, people like it crisp and short and to the point. Yeah. So when you're given opportunities, it is your moment to shine, but do it in a very quick and precise way. And then the other thing I also tell people, when you enter meetings, always find a way to always be seen. So this thing of going to sit at the back of meeting rooms, that's a no-no. So they say find the leadership stand. In meetings, sit or stand like you belong. Yeah, the decision-making seat. So how you present yourself, where you sit, will actually communicate your confidence levels. Yeah, firm handshakes and deliberate gestures will actually get you seen. So be particular and be very aware of yourself when you're sitting in meetings, how you're packaging yourself and how you're presenting yourself. So I always tell people, package yourself for the next role, package yourself for the next opportunity, and then set yourself up for success. Yeah, always set yourself up for success. So always take the seat next to the power. I know a lot of us run away from that seat, but always sit next to the power. Yeah, not at the back of the room, and always arrive early so that you can pick that premium position. Yeah, get to be seen physically. Okay, your work and your results. Yeah, and by the way, if you notice the ones we talked about, the mediocre who talk loudly, but then sometimes they'll even showcase your work. You who is quiet. So always learn how to speak up about your work. Yeah, because results always speak for themselves. Results always speak louder. So the thing is, never ever allow people to speak about your work. You speak about your work. Yeah, and by the way, you can. There's something called low bragging. As you're speaking, you can. You see the way what I shared about the company culture project I manage. That's how you share it. Yeah, it's not too overt, but you're actually using it to illustrate a lesson. Yeah, so you're showcasing your work, you're showcasing your results, and the right people are hearing what you're capable of doing and the results that you can deliver. Yeah, and especially with your boss, ensure that you have weekly updates of the work that you've done and also what you have been able to achieve so that you always keep them in the know. Yeah, also remember the 120-second rule. Just know that executives will determine your value in the first 2 minutes when they meet you. So you have to nail the entrance on the meeting. So anytime you're in a meeting, just know you're pitching yourself. So always ask yourself when you go for a meeting, if you have not spoken up, I always tell people you're as good as not having attended that meeting. I can tell you people who speak up always get noticed and always get remembered. And then always remember to communicate your ambitions. Always remember to communicate your ambitions to your boss. And there's a study that was shown in the big 5 companies. They said, especially when they recruit young auditors, they said young male auditors usually when they are young and they've just gotten their first opportunity, they're very clear. And they communicate that they're very interested to make it into partner and in how many years. And guess what? Majority of them actually make it into partner. But for women, what do we do? For majority of women, they'll keep quiet. And what you do is that you will wait until you're given the opportunities. So the key thing is always communicate your ambitions. For me, I was very lucky in my journey. When I was 25, I was very clear what I needed to achieve by 30, and I was very clear what I wanted to do by 40, and also very clear by 45. And guess what? And I know there are people who say, the world will always come together to give you what you wish for. Actually, that world is not the world, it is God. Once you communicate your wishes and ask, it happens. So for me, I was very clear about what I wanted. So it's very clear to get into management by 30, which I did by 27. And I was very clear to get into directorship by 40, which I did at 37. When you communicate, you know what? When you're clear about the goal, you will always get to the goal. Yeah, so always communicate your ambition so that your bosses know. And I remember during my performance appraisals, I would tell my boss, this is my goal. And they would know if they don't give it to me, I will look. For me, I was not actually very attached to say this is where I will be because until I die, no, I was very clear that I can't get it anywhere else. Yeah. So be very clear and communicate your goals. Yeah. So that now your bosses know what they need to do. If you're adding value, I can tell you they will do anything and everything to retain you and to give you the promotions. Yeah. And so what are the things that you need to do to ensure that you guarantee your promotion? So I've told you the tips, how you can remedy it. Now, the things that will guarantee you to ensure that you will always get the promotions that you require is consistent high performance. There's no good day or bad day. You are just going to be always fully charged, deliver. Always ensure that you're getting increased responsibilities. Yeah, volunteer yourself. Skill development, always be top of your game. Positive feedback, try and get feedback. Keep improving. Yeah. So always keep getting feedback. Ensure that you're getting good feedback. Ensure your alignment to your company, to the company goals, and then always be ready to take on new challenges. Yeah. So when people are running away from those hard tasks, that is where you run. So as I told you, majority of the people will always run away from challenges. You go for them. Those are the things that build careers. I tell people in my classes, careers are not built in comfort. They are built in rough times, but those rough times actually grow you. So take on those challenges. Yeah. So if there's a company restructuring and they need a task force, volunteer to be there. And if they're automated, volunteer to be there because you'll be at the forefront of your organization and even for the industry. Network and influence. That one we've spoken about. You need to be visible. And I always tell people, by the way, I started my network in my 20s. And by the way, the networks I built in my 20s are still relevant to date, 20 years later and more. Yeah, so build networks. Yeah, build networks, influence. And influence is internally within your organization and also externally. And then understand your role, your new role well. Where you need clarifications, keep asking, keep asking. People who ask are better than the ones who don't ask and they don't deliver. Yeah, and always keep getting feedback from your boss. Yeah, build onto your self-confidence. As I said in the earlier slides, your competence determines your confidence levels. You will not be confident if you're not competent. Yeah, so the first thing you work on is your competence. Yeah, and when you're competent, it will automatically build your confidence. And then the more you are able to do great work and great achievements, it builds onto your confidence levels. People like confident people. I tell people I didn't wake up. When I started out, I was not confident. Yeah, but now there are certain things that I know. And that is what has built my confidence. Then build onto your work network. Yeah, which we've talked about. Then don't be seen to be the people who are playing politics. Be professional. Build a good name. Have integrity. Yeah, and people know that they can always rely on you. Yeah, and then find a sponsor. And a sponsor is somebody who can advocate for you in rooms that you don't sit in. So this is somebody who's much higher up than you, but somebody who can actually vouch for your work. And the only way they'll vouch for your work is if you volunteer it and they're seeing you doing the work. Yeah, and then take on tough tasks, which we've talked about, and then always showcase your leadership capabilities. The only way you'll showcase that is by volunteering yourself these projects, and that is where they will get to see. That is where the wheat and the chaff are separated. So the hard workers, the people who can deliver results, are actually seen. Yeah, and that's the only way we can showcase it. So you will not do this in your little corner, in your little desk, doing your small little job somewhere. No, you actually have to push yourself beyond your boundaries to be able to be seen, and that's how we get to get noticed. But then there's something I haven't spoken about. There's something called talent reviews, which we normally used to do. And this is where now talent for the organization is reviewed. So if you're able to do all these things and people across the organization know you and have interacted with you, what it does is that it builds your case. So that by the time you're sitting in those talent review sessions, the senior managers have already interacted with you. You've worked well. Yeah? They know your work. So there's greater voice to actually say, yes, this lady is ready for the role. Yeah, so that's how you start building your case across. That by the time when they're deciding who is to be promoted and who is not, your work has already, the work has already spoken for you, but you've also networked and you're visible and you have already advocated for yourself, because self-advocacy is what? Knowing yourself, knowing what you need, and knowing how to get it. Yeah, and I hope now I have taught you how to advocate for yourself. Yeah, so by the way, promotions don't come on a silver platter. You're going to do all those things to ensure that you package yourself. So with that, I will say this is the end, and you can ask any questions. I hope you've enjoyed it.
Thank you so much, Pauline. Thank you so much for sharing everything that you've talked about. And you've put it very simply. It's actually very interesting how it has all come together. And I think the main question here is you are your biggest champion, you are your biggest builder, everything. Okay, not everything, but the base of even anyone speaking your name is actually you. But when you're talking about the people who was it Kiss Ass? I remembered when I was working, and I just thought I should share this. We would look at management as them, and then there was us. So management was those guys, the bad guys, and
Yes.
never did it ever cross your mind that actually management is the person who speaks about you and in places you'll never be, and
Yep.
looks at your work and promotes you. So we were playing a game of them versus us. And so if you were seen to smooth or with the other side, you see you were sleeping with the enemy. So
Yeah.
yeah, so when you're
You're so misguided.
it was so misguided, and I just thought about that, and I realized that's why maybe would label such people as schmoozers, but because we're saying now, are you fraternizing with the enemy? Yeah.
And yet you need that enemy,
It's not even an enemy. That's where
Yeah.
you're headed.
Yes. It's actually not an enemy. You actually need them. They're your allies. Yeah.
They're your
You need
allies.
them close. Yeah.
Great. So we have a few questions. I can see we have questions from Brenda asking, is it to do self-advocacy? And then a second one from Faith, how do you get
Sponsors.
would you ask them for to gain their support? I think there are those two questions that you can answer as I look.
Yeah. So somebody is asking, is it too late for self-advocacy? It's never too late. I always tell people, where you interact with this knowledge, that is where you pick it up from. Yeah. Now that you know what you need to do, yeah, start from today. Yeah. Start from today. Yeah. So it's never too late. Yeah. So if it's a matter of you talking to your boss, communicating what your ambitions are, telling them, asking them for feedback. It's never too late. Start from today so that you start doing the right things. Yeah. And so that they can tell you what are the gaps that they see that maybe you need to improve on. Yeah. And you see, you're moving forward. Yeah. It's better than not having started it at all. You understand? So the thing is for you to start from today. Yeah. Today going forward. And I always tell people never ever feel that it's all lost. Yeah. I always say every day is a learning opportunity and it's a growth opportunity for each one of us. Yeah, so start today. The other question was, how do you find sponsors? So your sponsors, so first of all, let me define who a sponsor is. A sponsor is somebody who's more senior than you within the organization, somebody who has influence, yeah, and somebody who sits in meetings at tables that you will never sit on. But the thing is, this person knows you and this person knows your work. So what you need to do is you need to ask somebody to become your sponsor. And when you're asking them to become your sponsor, you're asking them if they are going to use their influence, yeah, to be able to vouch for you. And let me tell you, the thing is, people will not use their influence on you if they cannot confidently say that this person can deliver. So that's the unwritten rule. If you're not somebody who delivers, or if you're somebody who is unstable, I can tell you very many people will shy away from becoming your sponsor. Because what sponsor means is that I'm actually putting my name on the line for you. I'm actually willing to put my name and my credibility on the line for you. So what I'll tell you to do is you have to make sure that first of all, you're that high performer. That's why I started with that definition of who a high performer is. Yeah, so that we are not kidding ourselves. If you're not doing a good job, you can't start asking people to be your sponsor until you're doing a damn good job. And let me tell you, if you're doing a damn good job, very many people have stars. So you won't even have to look for them. Many people will even vouch for you, even without you asking. Yeah. But anyway, it still helps for you to have good sponsors. So if you're good at what you do, people will always vouch for you and they will always keep talking about your good work. And by the way, many people will vouch for you irrespective. Because when you're good, as I always keep telling people, cream always rises to the top. So if you're good, you're good. The world will always acknowledge. So for me, always I tell people, focus on your work. Do a damn good job with it. And let me tell you, more and more people will even vouch for you. Yeah. So how do you ask for a sponsor? So you've done your work, you're a good performer. Now approach your sponsor. And by the way, your sponsor can be even your boss. Yeah. If your boss sits in those meetings, they can actually be able to vouch for you. But other than that, even your boss's peers, people who sit in the C-suite, even your boss's peers, people, the departments that maybe you work with and they know of your work, they can also qualify to be your sponsors. Yeah. So that's how we do. That's how you get sponsors. And then now you ask them, yes, give me feedback about my work. Tell me areas that I need to improve on. And you tell them about your career goals and ask them if they can be able to vouch for you. That's it. Yeah. I hope I've answered it.
Yeah, okay. I don't know if you can hear me. I'm hearing as if you're breaking. Maybe it's me who's breaking. Can you hear
Yes.
me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. There's another question here as well that's talking about politics. And if we don't politics, if we don't play politics, what if management won't define us and promote those who show their sides? I'm not very clear about that. But maybe it's about not playing politics and showing your true side. And if you're not allowing management to define you, that's how I'm getting it. Maybe you can clarify that, John. And then there's a second question about if you want to grow, but your desired path of growth is in a different direction, not under your boss. And there's a conflict of interest because your boss then it means losing you to a different team. How do you deal with that? And also, how do you differentiate between bad performance and imposter syndrome?
Yeah. Okay. So the thing about you wanting to grow, but to grow in a different department or a different path within the organization. It's not it's not a new thing, and it's not a bad thing. So what I'll say is you need to just do it professionally. So the thing is, if you are interested in growing yourself, but out of your department and out of where you are currently sitting, what I would ask you to do is actually just first have that conversation with your boss. Yeah, because I think a lot of people mishandle that process. And if you mishandle it, it can actually backfire on you. So what you do is you speak with your boss first and you tell them of your interests and why you're motivated to grow yourself in that direction. And maybe even tell them, by the way, actually my training is in this area. I just found myself on this side by just sheer luck, or is it where the jobs were where the jobs were available? So explain yourself and why the desire to grow in that area. So justify why it would be of interest for you to move. Yeah, and by the way, if you have a reasonable boss, majority of them will actually support your move. But you see, what becomes complicated is if you mishandle it. So what I've seen many employees do is that they go first, they approach the other person, the other department, and then you secure the opportunity. But now you're coming to tell your boss, if you do that, you will be short. So start with your boss. And then what should happen is that your boss should approach the other boss of the other section. So it's not up to you to talk to the other side. Yeah, because now what happens is that now you are usurping your boss's authority. Yeah, when you're starting from the other end. So it's like they're being told. Yeah, and that's why you'll find those resistance. And then that's where you find, I saw a lot of directors holding on to their talent. Yeah, because I've developed this talent. Now you want to pick them. I will have to keep the people I've developed. So we don't want to have such caught up, you don't want to be caught up in such things. So start with your boss and ask your boss now to advocate for you and give you the blessings to be able to move. That has happened. I've been able to do that for many people's careers. If it's handled well, actually that's what should happen. People should move to their areas of passion and their areas of interest. How do we differentiate bad performance and imposter syndrome? So bad performance is bad performance. Actually, the two cannot even be. The two are not comparable. Bad performance is where you just never meet the expectations. So you're always operating below expectation. Yeah. So you're told to deliver at this percentage, you will never meet it. To deliver by this time, you will never meet it. That's just bad performance, where you just never meet the given targets. Yeah. Then imposter syndrome. Now, imposter syndrome is very different. Imposter syndrome is actually, you're actually qualified to do the job. You're actually qualified to do, like there's an opportunity. Yeah, there's a opportunity available, but you're not actually going to apply. Why? Because you doubt yourself. Yeah. And this, funny enough, imposter syndrome actually happens with majority of high achievers. 82% of people in the world actually suffer from imposter syndrome. This is where you're constantly doubting yourself. You're constantly doubting that you can deliver on a new challenge or even in a new role. Yeah. So for majority of the time, we always used to think that it's women who have imposter syndrome, but actually men also have it. So imposter syndrome is where you're always constantly thinking that even when you've gotten an opportunity, even when you've gotten a promotion and you've gotten the role, you're always doubting yourself and wondering even how did I get here? You're always thinking that you're a fraud, and you always feel like you'll be found out that you're a fraud. Yeah, and always you'll find people who suffer from imposter syndrome. There are two ways it's illustrated. So there are two ways. The first way of imposter syndrome is that they always either overwork themselves, is burnout because they're always trying to prove, to keep reproving themselves. So that's the first way imposter syndrome demonstrates itself. The second way imposter syndrome happens is that they actually do not apply for the opportunities. And what do? They self-sabotage. They procrastinate and sabotage themselves. Yeah, so this is where you find somebody is qualified. They can do the job, but they are not actually applying for the opportunities. They're refusing just because of the fear, because they think they're not qualified and they are doubting their capabilities and they feel that they will always be found out to be a fraud. So there are various ways that it plays out. So the two are not related. The bad performance is just bad performance. You're just not up to the level that the role requires. But imposter syndrome is actually self-doubt. So this one is more of a psychological state where you're constantly second guessing yourself. And by the way, the normal ways that imposter syndrome comes out and how it plays out is perfectionism. You know, the way we are constantly saying, if it's not at 100%, I'll not deliver the work. That's imposter syndrome. Yeah, that's a form of imposter syndrome. Yeah. Or the thing of, if it's not done by me, it won't go. Yeah, there are people who they believe it's only them who can do the job. So those are forms of imposter syndrome. So there are various ways imposter syndrome comes up. So we need to understand what it is, know when it's playing out, and then now know when to catch it for yourself. I can tell you for me, I have noted when my imposter syndrome comes. And guess what? My imposter syndrome comes during great achievements. So for many people, it's actually when it's great achievements. So you're like, okay, tell me why. Why are you giving me this award? And for me, awards are very uncomfortable. I'm like, okay, you guys just leave me do my work. But for me, my greatest imposter syndrome comes when now the limelight is on me. I don't like it. I actually don't like it. But the thing is, that's when now you start saying, I remember the first global award I got. I asked them, give me the criteria. Can you imagine? That is imposter syndrome. Yeah, when you're unable to actually acknowledge your achievements, you're unable to recognize that you're good at what you're doing. You understand? Yeah, so there are various ways. So the thing is to understand when it happens and now learn how to catch it and be comfortable with the awards, with the accolades, with the promotions, all that. Yeah. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you.
Mm.
Thank you so much, Pauline, and thank you for all the great nuggets you've given us today. I can see Joseph is saying I can relate, not being on the limelight with awards and accolades. And Faith said very well answered. And I'm hoping that everyone on the call who's asked questions, we've answered them very well. Now, you have also asked how you can reach out to Pauline. We have put this on the chat. You can find her on this number, 0726 340 350. Is that the number, Pauline? That's the
Mhm.
number. But you can also find her on LinkedIn as a Pauline Kiraithe. There's a middle name that I skip.
Athure.
Kathure, Pauline Kathure Kiraithe, and she is very active. So I'm very sure if you connect with her there and you also DM her there, she will find you. Maybe can share an email address on the chat that people get you if you use that.
Yes. You
Yes,
can now, yes, but at least if you just go to follow me on LinkedIn, you'll be able to always get updates on everything that I do. We have
precisely.
exciting, yeah, we have exciting programs also.
Precisely, yes. And she runs the Ascent program, a very, very popular program for you who's looking to self-discover, be self-aware, grow your career path, and also receive more than these insights and coaching as well. Because some of these things, I know we've talked about them, but some of them need a little bit more. They need more hand-holding. I think for my life, I've had various coaches for the different problems I have found as I have grown. And each coach has served to be a significant pillar of strength because you need someone on your side. You need someone who is there with you as you're also learning this new skill because it's a new skill. Um, uh, Pauline mentioned the skill of advocating for yourself. You go advocate for yourself the first time, you get a bit hit. So you have to run back to someone and say, this is what happened. And you're able to explore how else you can do it depending on your personality. So I cannot thank you so much enough, Pauline. Thank you so much for being part of this session. We really appreciate you. And for all our viewers, thank you so much for being here with us. And for those of you who are consultants and coaches, we do have a program that we are running digitally. It is self-paced and it is run by another partner, very much like Pauline, a general practitioner, and her name is Mary Mokindia, and she is looking for anyone who's looking to reposition as a consultant and as a coach. And perhaps you're feeling that you're not getting the very best of yourself, and you're not getting better opportunities. So if you're looking to be a non-executive director, if you're looking to be on expert committees, task forces, and other high-profile engagements, if you're looking to grow your coaching or consultancy profile, Mary has been one of the people who has mentored a lot of people in terms of looking for these new opportunities. And the link will be chat now, which you can also click on to register. And if you attended this webinar, we shall also be sharing you an email or a newsletter, one with contacts, so you can get to contact her directly, and links to her LinkedIn pages, and then two with links on this program and the webinar that we're going to be having later on within the week to discuss more about this. If you want to reach out to us, the number is there on WhatsApp and call 0722 45 7777. So I'd encourage you, maybe the best thing is to take a screenshot of this, but this shall also be shared in the newsletter that's coming. So allow me to once again, thank you and wish you all of God's blessings as only He can. And also to our viewers, thank you so much for being part of this webinar. We do hope truly that you have gained one or two things. I think this is how we grow. And if you do have someone who would love to be part of our webinars, please do tell a friend, reach out to us, follow us on our social media pages, and let us continue with the wonderful growing ourselves and upskilling. Thank you. God bless you. And bye-bye. Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.